Let's start with Nvidia. Yes, it's up 89% this year. It's the top performer on the Nasdaq 100, third best on the S&P. Reports next week. Is the rally over or not?
I don't think the rally's over. Now, it is important to have good results next week. A lot of it's going to be about the outlook and guidance forward, as it is for most tech stocks. But I think as long as it's solid, as long as their growth trajectory remains intact, they're going to get over the 950 hurdle and they're going to get over 1,000 a share. So for me, this is still a buy. They're by far and away the leader in the clubhouse in the chip industry, and I don't see that going away. I feel like they're almost about to run roll everybody else because they're so far ahead with the chips they're manufacturing. I mean, look at the Oracle XAI deal. That's almost all going to be funded through Nvidia chips, and for me, that's so much growth potential. The stock is not overvalued, and the growth trajectory doesn't look like it's slowing down. To me, it looks like it's going to accelerate for them. So it's still a buy, and I see $1,000 easy for them if they beat next week.
Real quickly, what do you make of some of the big name investors who have been trimming their positions? They've done quite well in it. Stan Druckenmiller, Brad Gerstner, obviously. And the fact that, look, a 38 forward PE is hardly, too frothy. Well, okay, we could say it's frothy. It's not crazy. It's not 100. It's not like Netflix and Tesla used to have. But is that PE still too expensive?
Yeah, and is 38 cheap? No, but is 38 reasonable for a transformative company? Yes, and I think this is still such early innings in the AI trade, and we're going to see so much investment, not just from companies, but also from sovereign nations, from individuals. As we all get into this AI play, we're still early innings on that. This development is going to continue, and the chip demand is only going to continue to grow. And for us, the challengers just aren't there yet. We can talk about China and AMD and other people that are trying to ramp up, but Nvidia, by far and away, has made the best chips, continues to make advanced chips, continue to make better chips than their competitors. It's like, do you want to buy a Mercedes Benz, or do you want to buy like a Toyota Camry? You'd rather ride around in a G-Wagon, right? And I feel like Nvidia is the G-Wagon of the street.
All right.
Qualcomm was probably hoping that 2024 would go down as the year of the Snapdragon X Elite processor, as computer makers look for the silicon to power PCs. However, it was reported recently that there have been talks between the AI giant Nvidia and semiconductor company MediaTek for designing an AI superchip that will rival Qualcomm's Snapdragon X Elite hardware. In today's video, we're going to talk about this new Nvidia partnership, and there's actually more to it than what meets the eye, so keep watching to not miss out. Additionally, we'll talk about a recent bullish Nvidia stock price target set by key bank analyst John Vin. But first, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates. Now, back to today's video.
We also asked you to give us a big cap play in AI, and maybe not surprisingly, you chose Nvidia.
Yes, this is the biggest of big cap names in this space. It is really, really firing on all cylinders, and that is because the AI race is very clearly on. Adoption of AI is happening everywhere. So if you think about tech eating everything in the 90s, now AI is eating everything in tech, and it's showing up everywhere, and it is driving revenues for this stock. And if you look at its trailing PE, which is 78 times, that becomes 34 times on a forward-looking basis, which is really attractive for the kind of growth that we're expecting both top line and bottom line from this company.
Down a good bit today, Michael, but very close to an all-time, may have hit an all-time high yesterday, the day before. Your thoughts on Nvidia?
It's the 1,000-pound gorilla, and as Gina said, yes, it's expensive when you look at it on a multiple basis, but if you look at it on a growth basis, and remember that Peter Lynch says that earnings growth is the most significant indicator of stock price performance over time, this company has earnings growth, and they're at the forefront of AI. They're really tough to bet against them, really tough to bet against them.
Nvidia is already the leader of the AI market, but the company has been trying to elbow its way into the burgeoning AI PC market, positioning its RTX graphic cards as the best option out there for AI PCs. Competitors like Qualcomm and Intel have been pushing NPUs with their respective Snapdragon and Ultra chips, but Nvidia is banking on GPUs being just as capable. On the other hand, MediaTek is best known for building smartphone silicon, and some of those chips have made their way into mid-range and budget phones in the United States, but the chipmaker has a bigger presence in the Chinese and Indian smartphone markets. MediaTek has also made laptop chips that have appeared in Chromebooks and already partnered with Nvidia before on automotive tech. Not only that, but the company is actively creating some AI-related products, including AI processors for mobile phone chips. There are obvious synergies between Nvidia and MediaTek, therefore, it's no surprise to learn that the two companies are teaming up to create ARM-based chips for laptops. The original claim comes from a Taiwanese site, which adds that the resulting silicon will be larger and more expensive than mobile-optimized ARM chips. And based on reports, the Nvidia MediaTek chip will be completed sometime in the third quarter of 2024, but we might not see it in action until 2025. Additionally, the chip is rumored to be priced as high as $300 each. The new chip is expected to use ARM architecture and TSMC's 3-nanometer process. On the other hand, Qualcomm's Snapdragon X Elite is based on TSMC's 4-nanometer process, so this gives an edge to the Nvidia MediaTek chip, implying better performance and battery life overall. With that being said, working with Nvidia would undoubtedly give MediaTek a great boost, and this partnership would also increase the two companies' share of the AI hardware market, a market that's expected to hit around $381.9 billion by 2032, according to Precedence Research. So, there's a lot of opportunity there for Nvidia. But that's not everything, as this partnership could be the company's great entry into the AI PCs market, which would allow it to take market share from its main competitor, AMD. In March, AMD CEO Lisa Su highlighted how important AI PCs are going to be and why they're the future during an interview with CNBC. So let's hear what she had to say. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Investocracy.
Help me with my skepticism here, though, on the AI PC itself, because it seems like this latest boom in interest in AI and some of the economic activity came out of OpenAI's ChatGPT release, and investors really started to realize, okay, this is going to be big. See it happening in the data center. But when we start talking about inferencing and the client side, I don't see my kids saying, oh, I need a new AI PC to run this new AI version of Fortnite, right? They're still asking for the graphics cards, AMD, where AMD plays, to do the same kind of things before. So do we need to see new software that's putting demands on the hardware in a new way before the AI PC gets momentum, if it does?
Yeah, well, let me take a step back, John, and kind of tell you, describe a little bit of how I see the market evolving. So true, like, ChatGPT and all of these large language models have showed us that you can get access to a tremendous amount of capability with all of the training and inferencing that you do in the cloud. But it turns out that, people really have a lot of personal data, and the way you want, you use your PC, it's actually a personal productivity tool. So what I see is that we're at the beginning of the era where we can make much, much more capable personal assistants in the PC form factor. And things like, I can ask my PC, when was the last time I saw John Fort? What did we talk about? Remind me what he was interested in. Those types of things, which today I'd have to spend, probably an hour looking through like all kinds of things. That's one example. Actually, on the South by Southwest stage today, we showed a really good example of doing text to image where you could do it locally, so you don't have to connect to the cloud. You can do it right in your own PC. And again, these are things that as the technology gets better, I am absolutely sure that everyone's going to want an AI PC.
As an early player in the AI PC market, you might think that AMD has the edge over Nvidia in the market with its processors. However, we all know that Nvidia's chips are superior, so it doesn't really matter that Nvidia entered this market later on. By some estimates, Nvidia controls a whopping 95% of the AI chip market, leaving competitors in the dust. So, if it can enter the AI PCs market with great products, it could definitely snatch up a big slice of it as well. And of course, Nvidia will benefit greatly from that. According to market research firm Canalys, 19% of PCs shipped in 2024 will be AI capable, and this percentage will grow to 60% by 2027. With that being said, Wall Street analysts are bullish on Nvidia stock ahead of the company's Q1 earnings report on May 22nd. So let's take a look at what one analyst had to say about the upcoming earnings and his price target. But first, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Jeff Pierce joins us to talk Nvidia. Not too early ever to start thinking about their earnings. We've already got a couple positive notes out this morning from analysts on semiconductors. We were talking Seagate, Western Digital earlier. Jeff, tell me about Nvidia. What's going on here? What's the news flow this week?
Yeah, I mean, of course, as you said, we've got earnings coming up next Wednesday, the 22nd after the bell. And we've watched the stock pull back a little bit since March 26th, but it began to rebound again about April 22nd. And perhaps some of that's, investors taking profit. Some of it might be some pressure from the new chips that we're seeing out there from their competitors. But nonetheless, we have analysts weighing in. Now, NVIDIA anticipates about $24 billion in revenue for Q1 at the midpoint. That would be about a 233% increase over what we saw last year. Net income, they're forecasting up about 416%. At $5.62 a share.
Wall Street's consensus expectations are for Nvidia to report revenue of $24.51 billion. However, KeyBank analyst John Vinh is a lot more optimistic. In a recent research note, he wrote that the chipmaker will likely report revenue of around $26 billion and give revenue guidance for its second quarter of around $28.5 billion. Also, Vinh maintained a buy rating and set his price target to $1,200 on Nvidia stock, which is an upside of nearly 30% from current trading levels. Another analyst that's optimistic about Nvidia's earnings is UBS Timothy Arcuri, who said that Nvidia could deliver April quarter revenue as high as $26 billion and offered an outlook for this quarter that's possibly in the $27 billion to $28 billion range. Additionally, in his recent research note, the analyst addresses the well-known debate over the upcoming Blackwell chips, which is whether sales will slow down ahead of the shipment of the new chips as Nvidia's customers wait for the newest tech to come out. He thinks that these concerns are generally overblown following recent customer discussions and supply chain work, and that Nvidia's flagship H100s are still in high demand. He also added that this probably won't get addressed on this earnings call. Anyhow, Nvidia's rumored partnership with MediaTek on a new AI superchip will shake up the industry if it comes to fruition, and it's more the reason to be bullish on Nvidia stock. For now, Qualcomm has the edge in the AI PC market as companies like Lenovo, Dell, and Microsoft are already leaning in on the Snapdragon X Elite chipset for laptops coming out this year. And now that Qualcomm knows it'll have competition, there's some lead time on producing the next generation of AI-based chips. Still, competition is good because it encourages companies to innovate and chase after the newest things, and Nvidia in particular is a great company because it always seeks to enter new markets and dominate the competition in them. That's why analysts are bullish on Nvidia's prospects ahead of its upcoming earnings, and if Nvidia delivers strong guidance, it could further boost the optimism. But what do you think about Nvidia stock? And what are your expectations for Nvidia's earnings this week? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to tell us what your valuation for Nvidia is. If you would like to know more about the latest updates about companies like Nvidia, then go ahead and click on the next video on your screen.